Good evening. We start now our weekly show, Defacto Review. Tonight our topics are So let's start from the presidential election 2017. Mongolians are now in big dilemma. Whom we will select as a president of the country for next 4 years and possibly for next 8 years. We have been elaborating their programs, and we found out that several interesting points in their economic in the program on economic issues. Presidential candidate Inkbold says that we should be very friendly and we should go out from the crisis, and the crisis is the thing that we should fight for, not with each other. Second, what he is saying is we stopped economic recessions. We should not forget how we have decreased living standard of the people. And also he said we need to intensify Mongolian economy and we should work with the International Monetary Fund. Of course, no doubt about these 4 points he's raising on economic issues, but the issue is, and which is missing, is how. And about that questions, all candidates are not very clear. Mr. Battullah from the Democratic Party, he said that we will renew our economy and we will develop our industry, and I will be most patriotic president. Second, he says, we will open new era of export, and we have equal foreign trade relations. Third, he says that I will fight against monopoly of economic relations with one country, meaning China. And the fourth, he says that the mineral wealth of the country are to be not for only 30 families, but for all 3 million population. Mr. Rambatr, third candidate from the Revolutionary Party, he said, and I think a very interesting point, he said that without responsible state, we cannot change unemployment and we cannot eradicate poverty. I will try to solve these issues. That's what he says. Second, we will make new millennium creation. It's because the People's Party of Mongolia had before an Davis, when ex-president Inkbayar was a prime minister, he had a project called Millennium Road, trying to connect all IMACs with the road. Mostly it was good initiative, and it is done for a relatively short time. So I think it is the reflection of that time of the political party. So these are another point of Mr. Rambatr is we should take back all offshore monies to Mongolia back. And the last point he says we should separate Mongolia from Manang, the coalition of 2 political parties. So these are major economic motto or plans the candidates will do. In terms of political issues, candidate from Democratic Party, Mr. Inkbold, says that he will have a balanced power, presidential, government, and parliament, balanced power and mutual more understanding within the law, that to have this political consensus. Very interesting, another point he said, he will have glass party. Glass party, responsible, and glass party. This derives from the word glass purse from the previous power, where they tried to have glass glass, open, transparent, like glass accounts of state transactions. So he said that he will do it with the political party, and it will be political parties that its operation and financing will be a glass, so transparent that it will look like a glass. So Mr. Batullah from Democratic Party says that he will respect the root rights of Mongolian citizens and protect Mongolian citizens and create a rule of law and open, transparent state government services. That's what he says politically. Mr. Gambatar from People's Revolutionary Party says that the state is irresponsible today and they never think about the people. Money and power are mixed. Responsible governance against unemployment and poverty. In brief, these are the main few points that the candidates reflected in their political parties. But the question is now, do these political programs reflect all? Second, can they implement those political programs? Which usually is not case, at least in the history of our political campaign and elections, because we are not very clearly studying the research or comparing their political promises before the election and at the end of the terms. So we still need to go ahead with that in Mongolia. Now, few comments on what they have been. Are they realistic or not, these programs? Mongolian president has a lot of power, though it is regarded as a symbolic in our constitutions. Along with this foreign policy matter, the Mongolian president has a right to nominate all judicial system, almost all judges will be nominated by him. And also there's new structure, two structures. One is anti-corruption agency. A second is the Central Intelligence Agency. Both heads are nominated by the name that submitted by the president of the country. The issues Mongolians face today is not the promises what to do, but now we are more wondering about how they are going to do, which principles they are going to do. Many questions are not clear in that sense, so it depends on the candidate's understanding or commitment to the role of the government vis-a-vis role of market. Not very clear statements are with both on all three political candidates. On the other hand, economic crisis is driving from the political institutions' inability to functioning in the country. And without strong political and economic institutions, we cannot overcome the crisis, because those institutions are in Mongolia have been changed very frequently. With every change of the cabinet, all ministries, structure, positions, minister, deputy minister, or state secretary are being changed. That's why we need the stability of these political institutions, which are not properly addressed in each of these programs. So another issue we are wondering, can these candidates, when one of them become president of the country, will utilize their power of nominating those judges and the other security forces agencies? Whether they are willing to do so, can they do it? Will they change or replace the nominee when they cannot work? So, because what is missing is justice in the society. And in the programs of Mr. Gambatar, the justice issue is more stronger reflected. Justice is something, according to Adam Smith, that justice is something that is remaining in the society after injustice, things are punished. And unfortunately in Mongolia, that punishment is not happening. And the current president, Ilbegdorj, who was mostly speaking about a lot better governance, glass accounts, etc. But unfortunately, during his tenure, a lot criminal cases, corruption criminal cases, were refused by the court, which was submitted by anti-corruption agencies first. Secondly, many political criminals were pardoned, forgiven, and a lot of criminal cases have disappeared. That's, I think, the basis where in Mongolia the justice is not getting stronger, and vice versa. We are staying more in the bond of injustice cases. So that's why people less and less believe in the capacity of the state to make justice. So this is about the first part of our program. Mongolian parliament had investigation on central bank activities for the last 4 years. According to parliament member Ayur Saikhan, who was the head of that investigation group of the parliament, very serious case he brought to the table. He said that the former governor of the central bank misused his power, and the central bank is working with the big loss. And central bank was given money, very cheap money, less than 1% interest rate, to 45 companies who, in their own turn, have been using the money by saving in commercial banks with a commercial rate, and they were making money on that rather than doing the projects they are supposed to use that money. Parliament investigation group also finds that the home mortgage system didn't work well, bringing more debt to the country's coffin. And central bank had issued paper money, which brought at the end to 962 billion tuiks loss for this central bank, etc., etc. Several claims are there inside of this report. There was very hard discussions in the parliament. Discussions were mostly opposed by the Democratic Party, who was running the country for the last 4 years, 2 years in coalition, 2 years separately. But when they bring the arguments why they have central bank has so many losses, they brought all these cases where central bank was involved in too much. As we know, since 2012, with former Prime Minister Teng Huyag and former governor of central bank Zoljargal, made some memorandum about stabilizing prices and also introducing a discounted home mortgage loan in Mongolia. So both programs have brought the economy into more chaos, crisis, rather than the things they have, the Democrats claim. For example, like they say, we have got 70 to 80,000 people have homes, we have stabilized prices of fuel, we have stabilized price for meat, and we were able to keep a lot jobs. And the question is coming, at which cost and at whom cost? Then not everybody understands that it is the cost of all taxpayers or everybody who is paying taxes, who is buying goods, obviously everybody. And now this debate shows at which cost all things are happening. They do some program which does not help the economy. Actually, it does not stabilize prices. It is not stabilizing prices, it is subsidizing prices, because the state is trying to fix the price, which is impossible in this country. Secondly, any program they do, for example, the home mortgage, 70,000 people got home mortgage at 5% or 8% when the market price is 14 to 20% for loan. And the differences actually is being paid by everybody. So Mongolians understanding more now is for the sake of 60,000 people, whole country is paying for their mortgages, for the homes. It's nothing bad that 60,000 people have houses, but as a result of this program, housing prices went twice more. People could have these houses at the commercial rate with 2 times less prices. And construction companies and commercial banks lobby are so strong that this new government is going to increase, is going to continue that discounted mortgage policy. After IMF money came to the country, government announced that 100 billion tugriks will be for the mortgage, discounted mortgage, 5% discount mortgage for housing, which means 2%. At the 2%, money is given, public money is given to commercial banks. They add their 4%, 5%, or 3%. They issue the mortgage. But this system had brought us into big debt. That was the problem. Then with this big debt, with being not able to pay our debt, the government went after IMF, asked money, and now we have finally the money, and the money is used in the same old way. And again, this new governor of the central bank continued the same things what it was before. So today it looks like nothing is changing. Only people are changing. And it is very worrisome. So let's see when the central bank inspection by parliament report will go out publicly. That's what we are waiting for, which is not the case yet. Then I think we will have more deeper discussions in the society. But one thing is sure, that despite of the critiques about the previous government and previous policy, the current one and current governor of central bank will continue the same policy. That's what looks like the same. Our third issue about Erdenet copper mining, copper processing plant before owned by Mongolian and the Russian government. As you know, 49% of the Russian government shares were purchased by a group of businesses in Mongolia under one name, but the Trade and Development Bank was involved in the main financier of this deal. And the process went all the way to the point that Parliament had made decisions, and they take over the 49% purchased by the private company to the state, which is controversial issue. And these citizens, as citizens, they went approached our constitutional court for violating constitutional rights of people, constitutional rights about protecting of state and private property in the same manner. This is now with the constitutional court, which was not always making the decisions, the final true decisions we were expecting, because constitutional court, instead of being completely independent, looks like today it's like continuation of the Mongolian parliament. And in several cases they have behaved in that way. Like for example, they have made 2 decisions. Previous constitutional court made decisions, previous few people were replaced only. Few years ago they made decisions that Mongolian parliamentarian election can be proportional and majoritarian basis. And recently, as the political parties or parliament wanted, the constitutional court made decisions that it can be only proportional in this country. So on the same issue, Mongolian constitutional court made 2 different decisions, which gives us to think that it is not a reliable institutions. So let's see what is going to happen. But one thing is clear, owned by the private Mongolian company who bought a share from Russian company cannot be confiscated just by the parliament. It's for sure. But all these decisions should be made through court system, the judge, through judge system, court system, which is not happening. And now the group of citizens are now making complaints to the Constitutional Court. We don't know what is the final end, but we know that the Constitutional Court decisions is immediately valid from the moment of making decisions. So a lot of things to go now. It's going to, many interesting things going to happen in Mongolia on this issue shortly. So we will wait until the presidential election is finished. Then we will have a long holidays, as usually we do for summer months. Then probably from fall, this Erdenet 49% issue will raise again. Let's see what will happen. Thank you. So I have introduced today our weekly review with these 3 issues, and thank you very much for having time with us. Have a good night.